Hello, public opinion aficionados, and welcome to Rasmussen Reports. And guess what? Stunning new polling dropped. But in this video, we're going to talk about fake numbers, the industry's tendency to just put out filth, slop that absolutely doesn't make sense when you look at what America looks like politically, especially after an election we just had. Like, we literally just had a benchmark of where America was with Republicans and Democrats. And all the time I see these numbers that just defy all logic. I'm going to help you try to cope with them. And spoiler alert, Democrat Party favorability is not 19% right now. You're going to get the right answer from the only pollster in the industry who is polling continuously on a daily basis. But here is that 19% number I was talking about, probably the most cited political poll of all of 2025. Everybody in the right just loves to take a number that reinforces their hopes and dreams, their copium, whatever it is, and pat themselves on the back with a job well done. The Democrats are defeated. We have a bright political future. Generation Z is more conservative than in decades. And everybody who follows Rasmussen Reports knows that one's a lie. Make sure you follow us too, by the way. Like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Rasmussen_poll on Twitter. Honest Pollster on Twitter as well. That's my account. But this is out of July. And I mean, I'm just showing you this because it's representative of the kind of crap. Quinnipiac, I mean, you would do a better job with a dartboard than Quinnipiac does with polling. They're never right. They're always like 10 points off. They were like in the high teens, I think, in one of the elections. When we're talking national popular vote, which is hard to miss by more than a couple points, let me tell you. Congressional Dems approval hits record low. Only 19% of respondents to a new Quinnipiac University poll approve of the way the party is handling their job in Congress. And let me tell you, you know this is wrong. I know this is wrong. Donald Trump cited it. He shouldn't have, probably. Think about the Democrats you know. Are they introspective? Are they this objective? Are they willing to have the intellectual honesty to call their party out? No. Remember, they went from thinking that Kamala Harris was the least qualified vice president ever to thinking that she was the second coming of Barack Obama. And so, no, these people are not willing to trash their party like this. And we see it every day. Here's just something from like yesterday. Come on. AP, totally leftist, establishment shills, basically, is what they really are. Probably with a lot of government contracts, too. Maybe even some USAID money. AP and the NORC, what's that? National Opinion Research Center in Chicago or something like that, also leftists, wants you to believe that Donald Trump, who all of our polling shows is doing what Americans want him to do and who won all of the government in November with a stunning upset, winning the national popular vote, is somehow underwater like 24 points. Where do these numbers look familiar to? Oh, yeah, they look familiar to how Reuters, Ipsos, ABC, Washington Post, anybody who uses the Ipsos panel constantly sandbags Trump approval. These numbers are fake. Donald Trump has not lost basically 13% support since November. It hasn't happened. And so, no, his approval rating isn't in 37%. I've only ever had Donald Trump at 37% once, and that was the August of 2017 when everybody thought that he was going to be ripped from office because he was a Russian asset. Numbers like this just don't happen. I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't. You're going to have to press the I believe button on that if you don't understand statistics. And what's wild is the entire straight average of everybody that counts in the polling industry at Real Clear Politics only has Donald Trump underwater 7 points, not 24 points on job approval rating. And we have him, our latest reading today was underwater 2 points. He's been kicking around at like, underwater 2 to 3 points to above water 2 or 3 points. And that's stunning because that puts him higher than any other president at this point in their term, going back to Obama 1. Daily Mail actually has Donald Trump up 2 points. RMG has him up 5. There's that AP one, 24% underwater. Kind of stands out. Like almost like it's a complete garbage output, like just totally wrong. Oh, and look, Reuters Ipsos is almost down there with them. That's right. They have panels that do not reflect America. Their methodology is not tuned in. And even if it is, it's not calibrated to what America really is as based on the outcome of the 2024 election. I can tell you that. Even economists YouGov, like the worst establishment shills out there, only have Trump underwater 12 points. But we're talking about congressional politics, and here's the congressional vote. But now the Real Clear Politics aggregate has decreased the Democrat lead to only 2 points. The race is tightening. Interesting. How can Democrats be doing that bad when they're basically like tied on the generic ballot? It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. They never got more than what's this, like 4 points apart from Republicans. And here's what the favorability polling looks like. Just look at these stunning numbers. Wall Street Journal underwater 30, CNBC underwater 32, CNN underwater 21, Economist YouGov underwater 30, Quinnipiac 24, Marquette 30, CBS News 32. These are all pollsters that overwhelmingly showed that Kamala Harris was going to win in the fall. And how do they have the Democrat Party doing this bad? It just doesn't make sense. The Democrat Party thinks Trump is Hitler. They don't really care what their leaders are doing. And our favorability numbers for people like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are like moderately pretty good among Democrats. Look at us. Look at us, the right wing pollster, the accused, alleged far right conspiracy theory pollster. We have Democrats underwater just 7 points on favorability. Just 7 points. And look, it's going all the way back. You want like you're trying to tell me that Kamala Harris was only down 1.5 points on the national popular vote, but somehow just 2 or 3 months later, Democrat Party favorability is underwater like basically 30 points. NBC News, CNN, and I can tell you when NBC News was putting this number out, their numbers on Trump approval were not very different than me. But what did they think about the Republican Party? Again, the left-leaning polling industry has Republicans only down 12 compared to Democrats at this point in time being down 24. Wildly different. And again, our number makes a lot more sense. We're talking about a generic ballot situation where the parties are 2 points off, and we have Republicans underwater too. Not like 20 points apart, like underwater 32 in one poll and 13 points in the other. Listen, I mean, you know this. We poll likely voters. We are traditionally very accurate. Our methodology hasn't changed since November. And the truth is that yes, Republicans don't super love the Republican Party, and Trump voters don't super love the Republican Party, but they have a somewhat favorable impression of it. And like the numbers are pretty high. It's not like the Republicans are just going to stop voting Republican and vote for Democrats. It's not going to happen. Like that's just not how it works. And obviously, we've shown Republicans aren't like really happy with the way that the Republicans in Congress are backing up Trump's mandate. But listen, there's really not hate out there. There's just hate on the other side. Again, tepid support among Republicans for the Republican Party, likewise for the Democrat Party. But the government is shut down right now. And, you know, historically, politics would tell us that that's like freaking Armageddon for public opinion. And Trump's approval numbers certainly haven't changed. Right direction, wrong track certainly hasn't changed. So people don't care. They are done caring about current events and the way it affects politics because they're seeing things like Charlie Kirk being assassinated. Okay, we'll look at the current party favorability ratings, but we're going to compare March to October just so you can see how things changed over time. And back in March, the Democrat Party wasn't doing that great. We had them underwater 9 points with a favorable rating of 44%. That's a combination of very favorable and somewhat favorable here. And an unfavorable rating of 54%. Again, underwater, you know, I guess there's rounding here. Underwater 10 points. Only 17% said very favorable. And then the impression of the Republican Party at that time was a 3% net favorable. So they're, you know, 12, 13 points apart. Yep. Republican minus Democrat net approval, 13 points better for Republicans. And then we can go demographic by demographic and see where Republicans are doing better. Their net favorability. So obviously there's some double counting here. Their net favorability is 31 points better among men, 4 points worse among women. Their favorability is better across the entire age spectrum, 6% among the young voters, 13% among middle-aged, and 21% among 65 and older. We do see a trend where older voters are more likely to support Republicans than they are to support Trump, and middle-aged voters are the opposite. That's kind of been an ongoing trend by a few points. Republicans are plus 14 net approval with white voters, underwater 36 points with black, positive 14 with Hispanic. And Republicans are doing way better among Republican voters than Democrats are doing among Democrat voters. 121 points net difference, 121 point net difference between the two parties among Republicans, only 86 points among Democrats. And Republicans are positive 9 net points among independents. And yeah, we have it by ideology, income, but it's not a huge signal, believe it or not, kind of flat. Really nothing stands out here. But let's go to our current numbers. And reminder, Republicans were 13 points better net approval in March. And here it is in October. Democrats are now underwater 7 instead of 9. So they've improved a little bit. 2 more points of very favorable, but still only 19% very favorable. Republicans are a little bit more very favorable too, 24%. They are now 48 to 50, so underwater 2. So Republicans went from +3 to underwater 2. And now Republicans over Democrat net approval advantage is 5 points instead of 13 points. So a change of 8 points. So since March, it's gotten 8 points worse for Republicans. Now, obviously, there's some noise here, and we can look demographically. There will be ups and downs among the demographics. So we should really just look at the big changes. And Democrats are doing better among men by 12 net points and better among women by only 4. That's probably noise. Democrats are doing better with the 18 to 39s. So by age group, Republicans lost the most support among 18 to 39s. And I think that's because they aren't doing what the Trump mandate was. And the 18 to 39-year-olds, they're on the internet and they know it. Republicans doing slightly better with middle-aged voters and slightly worse voters over 65. Not much in the way of a race signal, except Republicans are doing worse with black voters. And so, yeah, there's this aspect of like Republicans formed ranks behind Trump. Just look at the language that Mike Johnson used on November 12th, 2024. And some people think they were sold a bill of goods. Democrats are doing way better among Democrats now. They're up to just within 10, 11 points of Republicans now. So the Republican numbers haven't changed. Democrats are doing way better with Democrats and no change at all among independents. So yeah, the Democrats are starting to dig in behind their party. Maybe it isn't so hopeless for them anymore. Liberals are way more proud of the Democrat Party now, probably because of its resistance stance that is now adopted, and people of middle income like the Democrats now. But among incomes over 100,000, Republicans are doing slightly better. Not much of an education signal, and that's pretty much it. So yes, I'm sorry if you want to convince yourselves that the Republicans are going to run away with 2026. Obviously, a lot of stuff can happen with the maps. Obviously, a lot of stuff can happen with Dominion and maybe some election integrity lawsuits. But if you just look at the politics, if you just look at Republican versus Democrat polling, well, guess what? The country is still pretty divided, pretty even Steven with registration. The generic ballot is still really close. And therefore, the party favorability numbers are also very close, as is Trump approval, very close. And so, yes, there has not been a preference cascade. Americans have not seen the accountability, the restoration to normalcy, the rebalancing of the economic scales that I think, based on the polling, they desire in order to think the country is finally being fixed. We still have right direction polling above 40%, but it's only at 41% now. And I think that there's a shrinking window to enact real change, because we're going to be it's going to come really fast. We're going to be in election season, and then we're talking a new Congress, and it might even be a Democrat one, because that's what history tells us is going to happen. And as far as I know, outside of gerrymandering, Republicans don't really have a plan for it. So if you think you have a plan for Republicans, make sure you like the video, subscribe at Rasmussen_poll, check out our other channel, Rasmussen_rewind, and post a comment. What should Republicans do? What's the path forward? Or are we just going to have a protracted war of gerrymandering attrition? If you've learned something, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Follow us on X at Rasmussen_poll and myself at Honest Pollster. You can watch our videos on YouTube at Rasmussen_poll and Rasmussen_rewind, and on Rumble at Rasmussen Reports. We stream multiple times a week on Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, and Getter. Thanks for watching.